Today we will study about role of transportation or impact of transportation. As we already said that transportation is responsible for the development of civilization right from very old times by meeting travel requirement of people and transport requirement of the goods. Such movement has changed the way people live and travel. In developed and developing nation, a large fraction of people travel daily for work, shopping or social reasons. But transport also consumes a lot of resources like time, fuel, material, land. Okay. So first aspect which we will study is economic role of transportation. How does the economic affects the transportation? Economics involves production, distribution, and consumption of goods and services. People depend upon the natural resources to satisfy the needs of life, but due to non-uniform surface of the earth and due to difference in local resources, there is a lot of difference in standards of living in different society. The range from material things to knowledge and skills like movement of doctors and technicians to the places is the need for them. Okay, so the place, time, quality and utility of the good. An example is given to evaluate the relationship between the place, time and cost of the particular commodity. So, if a commodity is produced at point A and wanted by people of another community at any point B, distance x from A, then the price of a commodity is dependent on the distance between the two centers of the system of transportation between 2 points. With improved system, the commodity will be made less costly at point B. So by this example it becomes very clear. Now how does the changes in location of a activity? The reduction of cost of a transport does not have same effect on all location. Let at any point B the commodity is to be consumed. The product is supplied by two stations A and K which are at two different distances from B. Means B is at a specific center point and A and K are at a specific different points apart from A. Let at present the commodity is supplied by A since it is at a lesser distance, but afterwards due to improvement in road network between B and K, the point K becomes the supply point of the product, because even though if A is at a less distance to point B, but the mode of transportation between B and K is more efficient than A and B. Okay, even though the distance between B and K is more, still then the supply point will be right from K. Why? Because here there is no matter of the road, there is only the matter of a proper means of transportation. Thus we can say that transport extends the range of sources of supply of goods to be consumed in an area, making it possible for the users to get resources at a cheaper price and high quality. The use of more efficient system of supply results in an increase in the total amount of goods available for the consumption. And lastly, we can also say that since the supply of goods is no longer dependent on the type of mode, items can be supplied by any alternative resources if usual source cannot supply what is needed. Now next role is social role of transportation. Transportation has always played an important role in influencing the formation of the urban societies. Although other facilities like availability of food and water played a major role, the contribution of transportation can be seen clearly from the formation, size and pattern and the development of the societies, especially the urban centers. Okay, then formation of the settlements. From the beginning of civilization, the man is living in the settlements which existed near banks or major river junction. Okay, next, sizes and pattern of settlement. The initial settlements were relatively small developments, but with due course of time, they grew in population and developed into a big cities. The size of the settlement is not only limited by the size of the area by which the settlement can obtain the food and other necessities, but also by consideration of personal travels, especially the journey to and fro from the work. The increased speed of transport and a reduction in the cost of transport has resulted in variety of patterns. Then growth of the urban centers. When the cities grows beyond the normal working distance, then the transportation technology plays a role in the formation of a city. For example, many cities in the plain developed as a circular city with radial routes, whereas the cities besides the river developed linearly. Okay, the development of automobiles and other factors like increase in personal income and construction of the paved road networks, the settlements were transformed into the urban centers of intensive travel activity. Now, third important role we are going to study is the political role of transportation. In this, we will cover administration and political choice in transport. So, what is the political role? The world is divided into numerous political units which are formed for mutual protection, economic advantage, and the development of a common culture. Okay, then transportation plays an important role in functioning of such political unit. So firstly, if we study about the administration of the area, the government of any area must be able to get information about its people living in that locality. It may include the laws to be followed, securities and other needful information needs to be generated awareness among them. An efficient administration of a country largely depends on how effectively government could communicate this information to all country. However, with the advent of communication, its importance is slightly reduced. Okay? Then how does the political choice in transportation plays a role? This choice may be classified as communication, military, movement, travel of persons, and movement of any material. The primary function of transportation is the transfer of messages and information. It is also needed for rapid movement of goods in case of emergency and finally movement of person. Okay, the political decision of construction and maintenance of roads has reduced in the development of transportation system. Fourth role is environmental role of transportation. In this, the negative effect of transportation is more dominating than its useful aspect as far as transportation is concerned. There are numerous categories into which the environmental effects and has been categorized. They are explained in the following sections. So first section, suppose safety. The growth of transportation has a very unfortunate impact on the society in terms of accidents. Worldwide, deaths and injuries from road accidents have reached the epidemic proportions. Increased variation in the speed and vehicle density resulted in a high exposure to accidents. Accidents result in loss of life or permanent disabilities or injuries, or we can say damages to the property. Accidents also causes numerous non-qualifiable impacts like loss of time. Okay, one 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 of the victims and inconvenience to the public. The loss of life and damage from natural disaster, industrial accidents, or epidemic often receive significant attention from both government and public. This is because their occurrence is concentrated. On the other hand, accidents from transport sectors are widespread and occurs with a high frequency. For example, if we say that road accidents, a study had predicted that death and disabilities resulting from the road accident is in comparison with other diseases has raised up from 1990 till 2020. It is going to still increase. Road accidents as a cause to death and disability could rank below heart disease and clinical depressions. Also, the significant reduction to accident rate is achieved in the developing countries by improved road design maintenance, improved vehicle design, driver education, law enforcement, etc. However, in the developing nations, the rapid growth of personalized vehicles and poor infrastructure, road design, and law enforcement has resulted in the growing accidental rates. So, the due care has to be taken. Next, air pollution. All transport mode consumes energy, and the most common source of energy is by burning the fossil fuels like coal, petrol, diesel, etc. The relationship between air pollution and the respiratory diseases has been demonstrated by various studies, and the effect on the planet Earth is widely recognized nowadays. The consumption of the fuels releases various contaminants in the atmosphere, including carbon monoxide, um, hydrocarbons, then we can say many other particulate matters. Hydrocarbons are the result of incomplete combustion of fuels, as we already know. Then particulate matters are minute solid or liquid particles that are suspended in the atmosphere. They include aerosols, smoke, or any other dust particles. These air pollutants also emitted in the atmosphere undergoes mixing, and then again it starts to pollute the atmosphere. Next we have noise pollution. Sound is the acoustical energy released into atmosphere by the vibrating or moving bodies, whereas noise is a unwanted sound. Transportation is a major contributor of noise pollution, especially if we talk about the urban areas. Noise is generated during both construction and operation phase. During construction or operation of a large equipment causes considerable noise to the nearby areas. During the operation phase, noise is generated by the engine and exhaust system of a vehicle, or the interaction between the vehicles and the support system. It may either be the rail, or in case of rail it may be wheel, in case of road it may be tires. Extended exposures to the excessive sound have been shown to produce physical and psychological damages. Further, because of the annoyance and disturbance, noise aids to mental stress and fatigue. Energy consumption. Next topic. Subtopic. The spectacular growth in industrial and economic growth during the past century have been closely related to an abundant supply of inexpensive energy from the fossil fuels. Transportation sector is unbelieved to consume more than half of the petroleum products. The compact of the storage of fuel was experienced during the major wars where strict rationing was imposed in the countries. The impact of this had cascading effect on many factors of the society, especially in the price escalation of essential commodities. However, this has a few positive shifts. A shift to public transport system, a search for energy efficient engines as an alternative fuel. During the time of fuel storage, people shifted to cheaper public transport system. Policymakers and planners thereafter gave much emphasis to the public transit which consumes less energy per person. The second impact was in the development of fuel efficient engines and the devices and operational and maintenance practices. A fast depletion fossil fuel has accelerated the search for energy efficient and environment friendly alternative source of energy. The research is active in the development of biofuels, or we say hydrogen fuels or solar energy. Whereas there are also some other impacts like transportation directly or indirectly affects the society. Okay, like we say the good transportation system takes considerable amount of land from the society. Then aesthetics of the region is also affected by the transportation. Road network is quite countryside in visual intrusions. Similarly, the transportation facilities like flyovers are again gaining the visual intrusion in the urban context, whereas the social life and social pattern of a community is severely affected after the introduction of some transportation facilities. Construction of new transportation facilities after often require substantial relocation of residents and employment opportunity. In short, we can also say that the role of transportation in a society can be classified role has a classified role. The social role of transport has caused people to live in the permanent settlement and has given chances of sustainable development. Regarding political role, large areas can now be very easily governed with the help of good transportation system. The environmental effects are usually viewed negatively.